Hey guys, we are going live now, and this is a new thing that I'm going to be doing. Hopefully you guys like it and it gives me some more interaction with you guys and get your questions answered live. But we have some breaking news. Jessica gets into the Olympia. This is the final weekend for the Olympia qualifications, and Jessica did it, and she did it with a pretty big upset, beating out Yulia, who had some momentum from the last couple of weeks, from the last few shows, getting a second place, getting a first place, and coming to this weekend as pretty much the favorite going into it. So what happened at the show? First off, congratulations, Jessica. I think that's absolutely awesome. I've been following her for a little while. You guys have probably been following for a while as well, seeing her get so close every single show. And this time getting that Olympia qualification. So what a weekend. The last weekend to do it, she gets the Olympia qualification. I don't know if she had plans to fly over to Legions tomorrow for the show over there if she didn't get it today, but what an awesome story to see someone get that Olympia qualification at the end. I love seeing this stuff. It makes it so exciting this time of year. Is, hats off to her for keeping on going. But what happened and why did she win? Why did she beat Yulia? I think that is going to be the topic of today. And also, why did she beat Kerrigan? So let's go ahead and jump right into the pictures and go from here. Now, understand my first time going live on YouTube, guys. Ask your questions in the chat. I'm happy to answer any questions you have, and there might be some technical difficulties this time, but I'm going to do my best. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the pictures of the show that literally just happened a few minutes ago. So looking at the pictures, there are some pictures going on online and people were talking about it. If you look at the actual comparisons, in the comparisons that I was seeing in the pictures, it looked like Yulia and Kerrigan were battling it out for first and second. When I saw these pictures, I was like, man, I'm really surprised that the judges are putting Yulia and Kerrigan in the middle with how crazy their hamstring conditioning is. Now, I will say the pictures with this lighting looked a little harder than what I was seeing, but still, here's the thing. People will blame lighting a lot. I'll tell you guys, if you're off season, you have no hamstring definition, go under the hardest lighting possible. You're not going to have hamstring definition because of the lighting. You either have hamstring separation or you don't. So if you're under hard lighting and you're like, oh, the lighting made me look harder, maybe it made you look harder, but if there's no detail to separate, the lighting will not do anything for you. So when people are in the comments and they're like, oh, well, it's the lighting making their hamstrings look so hard. No, you either have hamstring detail or you don't have hamstring detail. You can't make hamstring detail with lights. You either have some there and it exposes them more, or you don't have any at all. And if you want to test this, do it in the off season when you're 15 pounds above stage weight. See what your hamstring separation line look like under the hardest lights in the gym. You will not find it. I wish that was the case. I'd walk around with the light above my head all the time. Now, looking at the detail of these of Yulia and of Kerrigan, there is a lot of hamstring detail there. Now, the pictures that I'm going to show you won't show as much, but these pictures show you in comparison to Jessica of the differences of hamstring detail. And I think that that's important to look at because it is a big effect and actually what I think caused this show. Because if you look at them in the front pictures, now, Jessica does not have the most impressive physique out of these three. That's just the facts of things. Jessica has a great physique, but doesn't have the most impressive physique out of these three. So when I'm looking at these three, I'm going to say that Kerrigan has the best physique, right? That's the thing. She absolutely has the most muscular physique, the most rounded shoulders, the most impressive glutes from the front pose, the most detail to the legs. But remember, that is not a bikini physique, right? It's not the best bikini physique. I'm sorry, it is a bikini physique. It's not the best bikini physique. So we're looking at not just who's the best physique, but who's the best bikini physique, right, on that stage. So looking at from the front, who has the best bikini physique, I'm going to go right to Jessica. Now, in terms of detail and pop and all these little different things, I don't think she has the best physique, the best physique total. I think in the core, there's still some work that needs to be desired in the core. I think that the detail in this area of her physique can have a little bit more density, not a lot, just a kiss more density to her overall physique. And if she did, I think that it would help her more when she gets against these higher level competitions. But this is a scenario of Kerrigan and Yulia actually beating themselves. This is what I think happened at this show. Look at Kerrigan's legs again, right? When we talk about, look at Yulia's legs again. We talked about Yulia's legs before. The show she got second, I said her legs are too dense. They have kind of an orange peel look to them, that graininess, orange peel look, right? And I think that's the best way of describing it is that orange peel. You look at an orange and it has that little like grain to it all the way down the orange. She has that in her quads. Look at this detail here on those quads. There's a lot of like graininess to the actual quad. Look at Jessica's quad. There's no sign of that orange peel, no sign of that graininess. She has that what we call pretty muscle. And I think that that's the important thing. Why does Jessica win? If you look at their physiques, you're like, who has the best physique? You're not going to say Jessica has the best physique. That's a fair statement. Jessica has the third best physique out of these three, but the best bikini physique. Now, in the core, she probably is third in the core. I got to see more detail in this core come Olympia time, which she's going to be at the Olympia now. I do want to see that at the Olympia, maybe a tad tighter in the conditioning, but nothing crazy. Now, looking over at Kerrigan, what do we notice right away with Kerrigan? Her arm out posing, right? A little bit of that teacupping of that arm. That is something the judges do not want to see. They want to see an arm relaxed at your side. Yulia and Jessica both are doing great with it. Kerrigan is teacupping a little bit with her arm. I do think that hurts her a little bit. I also think with her pushing so much in this pose, she already has the biggest glutes out of those three. She doesn't need to sit into that pose anymore. And she's sitting into it, making it more extreme, but also makes her sit on her quad a little bit more. And she's also getting those quad striations, right? Look at that quad striation right there. Quad striation, a little, not so much of the orange peel graininess that Yulia has, but she's getting that quad striations and a little tiny bit of that graininess in her quad. Her midsection could be a little bit better, but she's a more muscular girl, so she's never going to have the tiniest waistline. Think of girls like Daraja. They're not going to have the tiniest waistline, but they're still going to do really well because the ratios allow it. So let's go ahead and go into that back pose and go from here. Now, this is really where things kind of changed for the show. I think that Yulia and Kerrigan are going to look back at this and be like, man, I kind of lost this show. Like I didn't get beat by Jessica. I beat myself. All right. That's what happened. I beat myself in this show because I came too tight. And because I came too tight, that's why I lost. Because I think that given Yulia another pound, 2 pounds, we saw what 2 pounds, 3 pounds did for her the last show. Give her 1 pound, 2 pounds tops, and she's not going to have this crazy graininess to her hamstring. She does have that separation and that graininess to her legs here. And I think that's going to be her thing for the Olympia. Can she show up without those orange peeled legs and without that conditioning in the hamstrings and still keep her overall lines in her tie-ins? It's going to come down to posing. It might come down to being more developed. She might need another year of development to be able to come in and have full glutes and be softer with having tie-ins. The tie-in part's the hardest part. When judges said, hey, we want more tie-in, that's what changed bikini so dramatically. And that's where you saw all these girls who were doing really well at one point and aren't doing as well now because that tie-in. It takes a lot of time to develop that tie-in, and it takes not just the right physique to do it. You need like the right genetics to be able to do that while still being lean, while still not having hamstring separation and having full glutes with tie-ins at the same time. And that's why you could see someone that was a former Olympia champion like Issa now struggling because the tie-in difference. And that made all the difference in the world. So for Yulia, yeah, does she need more development to not have to come in so lean? Is it a posing thing? They're going to need to put in some work over these next few weeks before the Olympia, but I think they have enough time to figure it out to show the tie-in without showing the detail, without coming in so hard all at the same time, right? Now you could see why it's so hard to be good at bikini. Bikini is a tough sport. So looking at it a little bit closer, when you look at them from the back, Jessica actually has probably the softest conditioning from the back pose by a pretty far margin. And actually, I think she's probably just a hair soft in the tie-ins. I don't think she's going to be able to get leaner than this because you're already seeing the detail of her hamstrings. So the difference of hamstrings that we're talking about, right? So here's the hamstring. You see how the edges have that nice roundness to them, but it doesn't have that vertical separation or the graininess. That's what we want. But we still do want a little bit more tie-in development. I think it's a development thing for her. I don't think it's a conditioning thing. If she gets any tighter than this, she might be too tight and start showing that hamstring separation. She's right on the edge there. So I don't know if it's a development thing. I don't know if it's a 1 pound, 2 pounds of body fat thing to get her tie-ins to be a little better. I don't know if her hamstrings will separate at that point. There's a lot of variables that go into it. And that's why pro level bikini like separates everyone. And that's why you see continuously, it's always like the same coach is producing the winners and champions, because the little tiny details that make all the difference in the world. Now, looking at Kerrigan from the back, I do think she beats herself here. Look at those hamstrings. Those are piano cord hamstring cords. I mean, that is a full separation all the way through. You're getting 1, 2, 3 separations. 1, 2, 3. Is this a fourth separation on the backside? But when you look at her overall glutes and the shape and the actual tie-in, it's really, really good. I think she can pose a little bit softer in that back pose. It would change things. She's got great shoulder width. It's unfortunate that this happens in this show because this is the last show of the year to qualify, last weekend of the year to qualify for the Olympia. I think make some minor changes for Kerrigan, and literally she might even get it at the next show. She has all the muscle in the world. It's posing, it's tiny details, it's bringing the right conditioning, and it's just tiny little things like that. So let me know, guys, in the comments if you got any questions at all. I'm going to try to do this live now. I'm actually going to be doing a lot of different things live. I think it's going to be easier, faster, and better way for me to talk to you guys. I'll come up with some set times. So I'll be doing them throughout the weeks based on how many shows there were that weekend. So pay attention on my Instagram. I'll be posting those times up on Instagram at Team Elite Physique. But other than that, guys, let me know if you have any questions. You can shoot me an email, adam@teamelitephysique.com if you'd like, or a DM, teamelitephysique.com for worldwide online contest prep with me. And I will talk to you guys later.